Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of the podcast. My guest today is Colby Eubanks. He is a videographer, world traveler, mountain climber, and then also super into action sports. He's an all-around great guy. Say hi, Colby.
What's up?
What is up, my dude? I am glad that we've been able to work this out. I feel horrible. I should fully disclose that. I feel horrible because of last time. What a lot of people don't know is we did do this podcast before. we've sat down and talked for about an hour and a half before, 2 hours, and I had a great conversation. But the audio or the recording was just so bad on my end that we couldn't hear either of us talk. I'm not sure why, but everything's worked out now. So here we are, man. Here we are. Well, what's been going on? What's new with you? Been about
not much
weeks
since we last talked.
Not too much, yeah.
Same old.
Same old. I feel that. Anything new going on in the COVID arena? Anything happening up there? I forget what you're based out of. What is
Cincinnati?
It? Cincinnati. So Ohio's pretty open-ish.
I guess. I mean, mask mandates pretty much everywhere. So
yeah, that's like where we're down here. I mean,
yeah.
But other than that, it's like you can do whatever you want. You can go anywhere you want. Stuff like that.
I think we're definitely a little bit more strict, but still.
Oh, Florida's like whatever, man.
Really? Yeah.
Florida's like
they're kind of being pretty strict up here.
Gotcha. That's pretty good though. I mean, I think the mask stuff should happen. I mean, we're definitely required to wear masks and all that, but it's like all the restaurant bars are open, so if everyone's going out Fridays and Saturdays and stuff like that, it doesn't seem like there's much rules, but there definitely are some.
Yeah.
So I discovered you on TikTok. That's how I ran into your account, and I was like, "This is a really cool video. This seems like a really cool kid. I gotta get him on." And that video was you traveling across the northeastern United States, correct?
Mm-hmm.
That is. So it was a really cool video because it showed a lot of the areas that, I mean, I didn't even know were in the Northeast. You know, I think of Northeast, I think of New York, I think of Boston, and I think of like the bigger cities that are up there in that general area. And you did a lot more. You did some of the big cities, but you also did a lot of the outdoor stuff.
Yep.
So I'm really intrigued in the outdoor stuff that you did with that. So talk to me a little bit about those, because I know in the video there were you had some hikes and stuff and all that. So tell me about what you did outdoor wise for that trip.
Yeah, it surprised me a lot too, because you don't typically think of like tall mountains and stuff of the Northeast. 1 second, hold up.
Oh, you're good.
Yeah, you don't necessarily think about the tall peaks and the massive mountains and stuff, but they have a lot of that out there. Because I'm used to like Colorado, so I was like, okay, whatever, it's gonna be kind of flat up there, blah blah blah. But yeah, no, it was beautiful. So I did a lot of hiking. Did a 20-mile hike one day, did like a 16, and then I went to some of the big cities, so it was fun.
Tell me about that 20-mile hike. I know we kind of talked about it before, but for the audience and stuff, like what was that called again? I know you mentioned it.
It was called the Presidential Traverse, and it was a 20-mile hike. I believe it was 7 summits in the Presidential Traverse in New Hampshire. So it took me 10 hours to do it, and it was a pretty grueling hike.
When you say 7 peaks, you mean the entire trail is like you're going up. So you go up, you go down, you go up, you go down?
Yeah, so I started like in the valley, and then I went up one peak, and then like you kind of go down, and then you go back up, and then you go down, and then you go back up, and then you kind of like traverse. Like once you get up to the first one, you're kind of traversing a ridge, but still each peak goes down a little bit, and then you got to go back up.
That makes sense. But it's not like you're going to the base and going back down.
You're not all the way back to down the base,
right.
But you go down like a good 500,000 feet each peak.
Dang, man, that's crazy. So the views on that had to be crazy good.
They were pretty solid. Like I said, it's just I wasn't really expecting views that good up in the Northeast.
No, I wouldn't.
They were great.
I wouldn't think of it at all. And so when you're up there for the 10 hours. Is there any stopping points or anything like that along the way?
Well, there was supposed to be. There's like 2 like there's 3 huts where you can like refill and get water, and one of them has food even. But so I was planning on stopping there and getting water. The first 2 were closed, So
Oh
I
man.
could not refill for water until like I think it was mile like 15
And
because the spout was out, like the hut was still closed, but the water spout was outside. The other ones were inside. So
right.
there was a good like 8 mile period where I didn't have water and I was like dying.
So what was so how long did you go without the water then? How long was like how many hours was that? I mean, not that, obviously nothing crazy.
It
You're here, you're
was
alive, but just curious.
yeah.
Cuz I know how that works. You're up there on the
Yeah, I
mountain,
mean, yeah, I wasn't like gonna die, but it was
No,
like a
but
good like 3 4 hours where you're doing like like a fairly physical activity, like
yeah, you're cool.
because the once you get out of the tree line, which is like the first like 5 miles, everything after that was just rocks, like big boulders, and you're kind of like on your hands and feet, like crawling up these boulders almost.
Oh my
So it
god,
was
that's
like
awesome.
so it was like probably 4 hours of that until I got water. And it was up like the tallest ones because the tallest one's like number 5 and I didn't get water until number 6. So I went from the base all the way to like
The
whatever
top.
without water.
Yeah, it's always like something in the hikes you kind of plan out your water and your snacks and all that. So
Hmm.
I get that. You're definitely dependent on that a little bit. And then of course COVID hits and none of that's open. You're like, ah, great. Um, was it was it empty out there? Were there people out there with you? Did you pass? Or was it just you? I mean,
uh, yeah, there wasn't a lot of people, but I probably saw like a dozen groups throughout the day.
at least people being kind of active up there and during all
Yep.
this stuff. So I was just curious to hear about that. So man, I just love the mountains. So there's nothing more to me that's cooler than the mountains. So in comparison, you've hiked other mountains and all that, right?
Uh,
Or no?
I I don't know. I mean, I
Maybe
have,
not
but I
hiked.
haven't
How about
because
like even
because
skied and stuff on them? Have you been to bigger
yeah.
mountains? Like I'm just kind of
Hmm.
getting a comparison here.
Because every time I go out west, it's always in the winter, so I always skied. So now that I think about it, I really haven't had the chance to hike big mountains out west yet, which is kind of why I'm excited to move to Salt Lake in a couple weeks.
Yeah, man. That you were telling me about that last time. That's awesome. And what was the
Yeah.
reason for you wanting to move out there? Just new changes, scenery and stuff like that.
Um, there's a few reasons. Obviously, like the outdoors plays a huge factor, but just also Salt Lake. There's a large rising both entertainment and tech industries there, so I just see a lot of potential in that area. So I'm kind of just going there for both outdoor reasons and then just business purposes too.
Yeah, I mean, hey, going out there, you'll get a lot of content about. You can do a lot of
Yeah,
hiking, skiing, all
and
that
it's just
stuff
centrally
content.
located of like the Western United States. So like pretty much anywhere I want to go out there is within a pretty reasonable drive.
Does it go Colorado and then Utah, right? That's how it
Yeah.
goes as going west. Okay, so I'm picturing where it is. Okay, um, Salt Lake City, man. I've only been out there once, but no, I've been twice. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful. Are
Hmm.
you actually plan on doing like legit Salt Lake City, or you're kind of out in the suburbs, or maybe even out even
Uh,
farther?
I'm in the Sugar House neighborhood, which is like just south of downtown. It's kind of like the more like
Nice.
trendy neighborhood. So like yes and no.
You gotta go. Have you been ever? You've been to Park City and stuff like that before?
Yeah,
Okay.
that was the first place I ever skied
Oh,
out west was Park
me
City.
as well. Actually, that's
Yeah.
crazy. It's such a nice little town, and mountain views from there are just breathtaking. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like I'm trying how to describe. Like the town is literally just surrounded by the mountains. It's just a small little town, maybe what
Mhm.
2 or 3 stoplights.
No, it's actually for a ski town. Park City is actually very large.
Is it okay?
Um,
Because
yeah, yeah,
so the other thing I should say
yes,
is I went there for Sundance. I
Sundance.
went there for Sundance one year,
Yeah, it's
and
busy.
it was very busy. But we walked. I mean, I guess we did take buses, but we walked a lot of
Hmm.
places. We walked a very
Yeah,
good amount of places. So to
it's
me,
definitely small, but in
not
terms of ski town, it's big.
that's good to know. I don't go skiing too much because I'm down here in good old Florida. But all right, I'll take note of that. But yes, it's such a nice city, and yeah, Sundance was packed. Have you been to Sundance?
I was in Park City like during Sundance this past year, but I like didn't actually participate. I was just in town.
Is that ever a goal of yours with any of stuff like that? I know you're
I mean, yeah, that'd be cool to have a film in Sundance.
yeah, even like a short film or something that'd be dope.
Yeah.
It's really cool if you. I mean, you're gonna be there. You're gonna be really close to it. If you ever get the
Hmm.
chance to go and get tickets and stuff, Man, do it. I would tell you that it's a really really cool experience.
Hmm.
I won't forget it. We went for the week and we didn't do any skiing actually while we were even there. We literally just did movies and stuff, and we saw like maybe 10 to 12 movies in the span of the week.
Yeah, that's sick.
And did dinners and stuff out there, and actually, now that I think about it, I think we did like 3 movies a day. And you're actually pretty beat. Like, you don't think you're gonna be beat, but like you
Hmm.
are, because you have, the way it works is it's so busy that you have to go wait in line. Like, it you might not get in, and some
Yeah.
they give you different tickets if you don't get in. But so, like, if there's a movie you really want to go see, you got to get there early enough to be in line. And then what happens is, of course, after like 2 days, people start to know like what was a really good movie to go see and what wasn't. So then you might have a ticket on the 5th day for this movie that was like crazy good, and everyone's wanting to go. And I mean, there are some people that sell their tickets for sure and make some money off of that because they're like, I don't really care. It'll be out in the theaters. I know the year I went, this movie, Birth of a Nation, was there, and
Oh
it
yeah.
was bought. It was the largest purchase ever from Sundance. That might have changed since I've been, but at the time it was. And so that movie was like hotcakes. Like, everybody wanted to go see it. Everyone was talking about it. Like, oh my god, Sony bought it for 17.8 million. Like, that's crazy. And it's just a small indie film festival that produces some big hits. And then what's also just so cool is because, like, again, in my head, it's a very small town, and there's tons of celebrities that are coming in and hanging out for the
Hmm.
week and all that. I think like Nick Jonas was there. I met Paul Rudd. I met John Krasinski, Kristen Stewart, Octavia Spencer. Those are the people I met, but there were even more than that. So
Yeah.
really cool. I mean, I'm sure you'll go check it out, but highly
Yeah,
recommend.
I was definitely planning on
Highly
going this
recommend. Man,
in January, February, whenever it is.
I'll fly out and come again. That was fun, man. I love it. I love out west and the snow and all that, but I'll come out. Um, Dang, yeah, it's cool. Um, we got really distracted there. So you were talking about the trip that you did to circle back was Northeast, and did you, now, if I'm correct, you did this trip by yourself?
Yep. Over 12 days.
Wow, that's awesome. Now, how was that? I'm intrigued. I think there's a lot of people that aspire to go out on trips and do trips by themselves, and then they just never do it. So what do you, first off, what are your thoughts on that? How was it? And then what would you say to those people?
Yeah, I was getting a lot of comments on that video of people saying like, "Oh, I could not stand being by myself this long. I can't. I need to do this with friends." Da da da. But like, it really just depends on like you and your personality. I mean, personally, like I'm a pretty major introvert, so like I love spending time by myself. So like I find it very meditative to spend that long by myself and just being outside because it just gets me thinking, and that's where I get like a lot of good ideas and just come up with a bunch of good things, and it just kind of it's like a good reset for me.
Mm-hmm.
um, because kind of what I do and like filming it involves being around people all the time, so it's nice to like go somewhere and just be by myself in the mountains or wherever. So it just depends. Some people have a harder time doing it than others.
What do you think while you're on your hikes? What do you think about while you're hiking?
Uh, I'm all over the place. I mean, sometimes it's ideas for videos, sometimes it's like the future, sometimes it's like just planning out things or strategizing. It's just all over the place. My brain is very, I don't even know how to describe it, but it's always thinking.
It's always thinking. You're right, right. But yeah, it's crazy while you're out there though. The thoughts around the mountains. I think they, like you're
Hmm.
saying, it's very much a meditative process, and you kind of get into that train of thought about. You just think about a lot while you're out there. I mean,
Yeah.
for one, you get very humbled because you're like, I
Yeah.
am.
By the scale, it puts things into
It
perspective for you for sure. And that's
really
another big
does,
thing.
man. It really does. Is mountains put things into perspective because you're like, wow, I am so small. I am so small. I think cities do that. I think that's why I like cities too. But like,
Hmm.
you're so small and you're part of this and you're here and yeah, it's very humbling, and you definitely get that meditative. You start to think of things a little bit, maybe there's a bigger picture here than what I'm doing currently or whatever.
Yeah.
It's
And now that you say that, that like makes me think because um people are like, oh, what's your favorite place to visit? And I'm always like, well, I like the mountains, but then I also like cities, but then I also like the ocean. And now that I think about it, the one thing they all have in common is the power slash scale. Like the ocean humbles you because of how powerful it is, and then the size of mountains, and then in cities, just you're one person among millions. So that's like, for example, that was just one of the random thoughts I had while you mentioned that.
Yeah, I mean, let's expand on that. Absolutely. I mean, that's the other thing though is I think the vast majority of us, wherever we live, for instance, I live near the beach, so I
Hmm.
don't. I look at the beach and I'm like, oh, it's the beach. I see it every day. And then I go to a mountain and I'm like, holy shit, like this is crazy. And my friends in Colorado, they're like, it's a mountain, bro. 14,000 feet. We hiked one last weekend. Like, and I'm like, no, you guys don't understand. Like, this is crazy. And then they come to the beach and they're like, wow, look at the ocean. Look at the water. They go, they're running into the water. They're building
Yeah,
sandcastles. It's like, what the
I
heck's
live in the
going on?
Midwest. I live in the Midwest, so it's all cool to me.
It's Midwest is a cool place though. I mean, it has its perks. I my family's from Chicago area, so
Uh-huh.
I go up a lot and I love the area. They don't live in Chicago; they're out in a suburb and all that, but they're way out there, and so I get a little
Hmm.
bit of the country feel. And lots of corn, definitely lots of corn out there. Um, but it is all of that's very humbling when you don't have it near you. Even
Hmm.
I think you could admit that about like Cincinnati's not a very big city. It's a decent sized city, right?
Yeah,
And I think that's probably what Tampa is in comparison.
yeah,
And
probably.
but when you go to Chicago or New York City, those are two big ones that I can think of in the U.S. that are just
Yeah.
you're like, oh my god, this is crazy, what people have built and put in together, and then like what you said on top of that, like just the fact that there's millions of people and I'm here and that's it, and
Yep.
no one would know me. On the speaking of cities though, because you did go to New York City during that trip.
Yep.
How was that? Because if I'm correct, did you do this during a lot of like the lockdown? Not necessarily the lockdown, but when things were just starting to reopen is when you did it, right?
Yes, I this was like mid to end June, so things in New York were like starting to reopen. So it wasn't completely dead, but in terms of like normal activity, it was fairly dead.
Dang. And how was that though? Because I've only been in the city I went to the city literally at Christmas time, which any advice
Hmm.
for people, it's beautiful at Christmas. It's absolutely gorgeous, but be ready for like it to be twice as crowded.
Yeah.
Because not only are like tourists coming in like myself to see all the Christmas lights, everybody's coming downtown to make a night of it. Like we're going to go shopping for Christmas gifts, we're going to go out to dinner, like we're all going to go to downtown. And it gets crazy, but beautiful. Check it out. So how was it though? Have you been in New York City before this?
No, that was my first time.
Oh, okay, cool. So you have like a really cool perspective on it
Hmm.
because like it was just empty. Like there were just not many people
Yep.
out and stuff.
Yep. I was skateboarding down Broadway through Times Square by myself.
Oh my god, talk about that. Tell me about your skateboard trip.
Uh, I mean, that's pretty much just how I got around because I was only there for 24 hours. So I would just hop on the subway, go wherever because I was like bouncing all around Manhattan because I just wanted to kind of see everywhere. Um, so yeah, I mean, since there weren't a lot of people, the sidewalks weren't crowded, streets weren't super crowded, so I was pretty much just able to skateboard wherever and not have to worry about cars and people.
That's so cool. That'd be good for me because I'm horrible at skateboarding and I would fall. Or I'd hit people if there were a lot of people. So that sounds awesome. Do you ever longboard?
Yes. Well, actually, no. I just sold mine, and I'm gonna buy a new one
New
shortly
one?
because I kind of broke it.
Yeah, there you go. I didn't now. I mean, I feel like longboarding. I didn't know. I don't know where longboarding is big or is. I know it's big down here. It's very flat here, so people,
Yeah.
but they don't do anything crazy. I've seen where they have all different types of boards too. It's a whole different world. I don't know much about.
Yeah, they do like flat ground, like longboarding, like with the really long things, and they
That's what
do
we
like
have. Yeah,
tricks and stuff. Kind of
and
up
then
here, we kind of people do like a lot of downhill, and
that's
that's
where they
also
got the
really
gloves,
popular.
right?
Like out in California, yeah, where
And you
they
get the
like
gloves
skateboard
and
at
you
like
just.
70 miles an hour
Oh my
downhills and stuff.
god, that's
Yeah,
crazy. Have you ever done that?
I have a couple friends that do it, and like I don't understand. Like it's
Have you ever done that
like I'm
yourself?
in no, like I'm very I enjoy action sports a lot, but like that's one that like I just can't get into.
Oh my
Like
gosh.
I like longboarding like around just like casually, but like doing it down the side of a mountain. No.
Yeah, I don't know if I could fly. I don't know. I think I would. Yeah, I would probably lose control and die. I think that's my first thought. It would take me a while to get up
Yep.
to that top of the mountain and do that. That's crazy. That is crazy. Um, so as I mentioned earlier, and you're a videographer.
Yep.
Tell me about how you got involved and how you got started in that profession.
When I was little, we had like a little home camera,
Mm-hmm.
and me and my brother, we always ran around that and just filmed stupid videos. We have like dozens of them. And then I got into skiing. And then because I got into skiing, I was like, oh, I want to get a GoPro to film my skiing. And then naturally from there, I just started filming my friends skiing. And then that morphed into, hey, I just like filming in general. And then I started branching out from action sports. And um, yeah, now I do like client stuff. And it's my job.
Did you start your videography journey with action sports? Is that where it began?
Yes.
What
Yeah.
was all skiing stuff at first?
Mm-hmm.
I think you still have some of those up on your YouTube channel, right?
Yep.
Are those relatively new? I know you have one that's like a ski journey or something. I was looking at it the other
Yeah,
day.
I made my most recent ones from this year. So I still do it like a reasonable amount, but I definitely am trying to morph out of it and kind of like branch out into new aspects of the filmmaking world, because I don't want to kind of be stuck in that box of like just skiing. I want to do commercials and documentaries and TV and narrative stuff. So that's where I got my start.
Right. So when you see the future of your videographer career, is it more client based? I'm doing this video for somebody, or is it more of I'm freelancing doing YouTube videos, or is it a mix of both?
I wouldn't say like client work, because like when I think of client work, I think of the work I do now, which is like me filming like boring videos for like like small businesses and like real estate agents and stuff. And like that's nice right now because it like pays me a lot of money, but it's boring and I definitely don't want to be doing that long term. But I do want to be I want to be working on like larger projects, because everything I've done up until now has just been like me doing things by myself. And I feel like I've reached the point where I've done everything I can as one person. And I want to start like working on larger productions as like part of a team and like doing cooler things. And then also mix in there, I do want to do some more social media stuff. So kind of
Right.
a combination of those.
Yeah, a little bit of both. Now, the only reason I ask is because I feel like the YouTube side of it, if you're, I guess, a content creator for that, you have a lot more freedom to. I look at that as like you have a lot more freedom in your life and to do what you kind of want to do. Then you kind of pick and choose what clients you want to do down the road. Is that kind of on the ball you want to go with it, or no?
Well, I wanna do like the social media stuff, because that's like I could travel a lot, but still when you're doing that, it's still often just you by yourself. But the clients you're shooting for that are often like cooler clients. So like I want to do that type of client work, but then also on the other side, I want to like be doing stuff with production companies. Um, and then eventually, even farther down the road, I want to have my own production company and I want to be directing and doing that type of stuff.
That's where it's at right there, my man. You know what? You know what? You got the vision though, and that's what matters. Is you're taking these small baby steps right now. Like you're saying, like, man, I'm working with these clients right now. Which, by the way, I do want to get into that about your work now. But you're like, I'm working with these clients now. I don't particularly enjoy it. It's paying the bills. It's getting me experience. I'm doing side stuff on the side to make my resume look good. Then I'm gonna go work for hopefully someone bigger, and then bigger, and then next thing I know, I'm just gonna run the show. I'm gonna sit back and watch it happen, right? That's awesome, dude. That's quite the vision to have. I mean, I think you can do it. Your videos are sick. Like I said, I just saw your TikTok one, which is only a minute, a minute long or something,
and just filmed on my phone,
and just filmed on your phone. And I was like, he put this together really cool. Like I was like, the music, everything. I was like, this is cool as fuck. I gotta get this man on. So yeah, man, you've got the vision, you've got the goal, and then I mean, like I said, from what I've seen, you're killing it. So all power to you.
Thank you.
Hopefully, you take my words and run with them, there, man. That's good. But tell me about your work now, because I'm intrigued. So I'm intrigued because like exactly what you just said earlier was I'm doing it right now, and it's great. It's not my passion per se, what I want to do with videographer, but I am good at it and I like it.
Mhm.
So tell me a little bit. Tell me.
I mean,
I guess.
I'm definitely grateful for it because obviously, like, I'm 18. I could be working at a restaurant or at a grocery store or something, making $10 an hour. But so I'm stoked that what I do involves a camera and it
Yeah.
pays a lot better than that.
Yeah.
But I also don't want to be stuck in that position for the next 20 years of my life. So kind of like
Yeah.
where I'm at
Absolutely.
now, like it's cool, but I'm not necessarily content with it for 30-year-old me or 25-year-old me. But for 18-year-old me, it's pretty great.
Absolutely, man. But like I said, from what you just told me and just said on the podcast, is you've got a vision of what you want to do, and this is really just a stepping stone for which the future you really want. And
Mhm.
this is my opinion on it, because that's just how I work with my life too. Is that if that's the case, at least you're aware that you have to make the necessary sacrifices for it right now to get what you want in the future. I absolutely agree with you. You don't want to be really complacent in anything.
Mhm.
And the fact that you say that is, a huge testimony and sign to what you're trying to accomplish. I'm doing it. I'm doing it right now. I'm grinding. I'm working hard, but I don't want to do this my whole life, and I'm going to make sure I don't have to do this my whole life.
Yeah.
But that's dope. So you're just filming small videos for like what, local businesses, and they put that on their social medias. They air them on TV. Like how exactly is it that you're doing?
Yeah, mostly what I do is stuff for local businesses, and then I do like a lot of real estate work too. And it's mostly just social media content for them.
Tell me about the real estate work, because I didn't realize that. Is that like you're droning like houses and you're taking videos and pictures of houses for tours and stuff, like for sale and stuff like that?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, some clients, they want like drone videos, and then some of them more like want like an interview type thing of them like explaining like, I'm this great real estate agent, da 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 da. So it kind of just depends.
Oh, like, okay, like that too. Yeah, we use like a
Yeah.
video why they should pick that person type of thing.
Yeah, it's more of like a promotional video for that like real estate
Gotcha.
agent.
I mean, that's crazy though too, because that's such a like unknown little niche market that's like huge, because there's tons
one
of
thing I've really enjoyed about doing like a lot of real estate work is like real estate in general just intrigues me, and I want to like get into like real estate investing later down the road. So it's been cool kind of just being able to just be in the room when all of that happens, and kind of just because I've learned a lot about real estate in general through it. So that's been a cool aspect of it.
Are you ever gonna get your license for it?
I thought about it, like just doing it for fun, like just as like a little side hustle.
Me
Like
as well. Yeah.
very, yeah, like not anything for work, but just because real estate like kind of seems fun to me. So I don't know, but
So
I definitely want to get like some investment properties later.
That's what that's what you're really getting down to. Yeah, you want to.
Mhm.
I mean, that's my whole view, man. Too. We didn't talk about this last time, so I'm really glad this is going the way it's going. I'm very much as the same thing. Like right now, I'm working. I'm doing this on the side. I'm saving up money, and the goal is to definitely start in the long run, or start as soon as possible, getting investment properties, and might live at it at first, but then renting it out and going from there. It's a crazy way to like make money that I think it's like in front of everybody, but I feel like not many people take advantage of it. I don't know if that's the right word and stuff like that. Like there's.
I mean, it takes a lot of money to do it.
That's the big thing. A lot of people don't have that determination to sit around and wait for them to.
And you got to deal with tenants and property management companies and. So.
I mean, it's a little bit of a hassle, but I feel like once you get enough, man, it's just so much more freeing. I mean, to sit back and let 8 rental properties be your income for the whole year, and just sit and like, or whatever it is that you buy. It doesn't have to be rental properties, but you get what I mean. It's just like that's the number one thing besides stocks and stuff like that you could.
But
easily...
most people just see stocks because it's easier, but. I just like having like physical stuff, so I'd much rather have like a $200,000 house than $200,000 in stocks, because it's just cool. Like, hey, I own 4 houses, or
do you think
instead of I own 1,000 shares of this.
Do you think that's the reason why a lot of people don't get into stocks, because it's not something they can physically hold?
Yeah, I think it just doesn't like it's not like it doesn't actually feel like if you're just getting into it, it doesn't feel like you're buying something. You're like, okay, I'm just sending money to this brokerage and now I have this. So yeah, I could see that.
I never thought of it like that. That's an
Yeah, I didn't either.
interesting. I bet you that's the reason why is because a lot of people are like, well, I don't see it. I don't have a
Yeah.
tangible way
I
of
mean,
measuring
I
it.
got in I got into stock investing a few months ago and I like it, but that does make sense.
I mean, I like it too. I've been putting a little bit every paycheck more and more into it, and
Hmm.
I've got 401k and all that stuff as well. But I'm doing also my own brokerage, so it's like, yeah. But that's the way. I mean, and again, I know a lot of people that I have like a very mixed friend group of people that do it, and I have other people that don't do it, and I'm like, it's so simple,
Hmm.
and I'm not gonna sit here and say it's easy, but I am gonna say it's very simple, and you could do it. Anyone could do it,
Yeah.
and it is.
Especially these days with all the free trading accounts.
Oh
I
my
mean, like
gosh, it's
they make it so
crazy, and
easy.
that's it. It's like why you might not know about it, and that's a different situation. But if you know about it, why are you not like you
Hmm.
have to ask why are you not taking a little bit of advantage of it, even if it's like $5? I know
Yeah,
it
just play around with it.
sounds so minimal. Yeah, I mean I'll be straight. Like I put in like only like 250 when I started. That was like 2 years ago, and I
Hmm.
was like I'm gonna just play around with it, make sure I know like I get an idea of what I'm doing, and like when I feel more confident, I can put more money in, and I mean, that's a lot of them too. Like they have where you can, like Robinhood is, they opened up like a cash management thing now where you can put money in and it's like they get a debit card with it. So it's kind of like almost like a savings account, and
Hmm.
you can use that money to invest, or you can leave it in the cash management account and it gets interest, and you can swipe the debit card and it's like it's almost like you're banking now with Robinhood, and which
Interesting.
is crazy to me as well. And but like I think a couple others have that too, and it's basically like a savings account that you can just earn money on, like in way more
Hmm.
money than what you could get in a savings account. I mean, again, I don't want to oversimplify and say it's super easy, but it's also not very hard. And you just gotta like be a little bit observant, like which companies are doing good. And I think the main issue when people get involved in it is they want like the big winner. They want to like buy something at like $1,
Yeah,
and it's
they want
like
to get
it's
into
at a
options and penny trading and day trading.
yeah, and you can do that, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think that's when it will get harder, and you're gonna have to take time to really
Yeah.
learn that. Absolutely. But like if you looked around and you know what companies you think are gonna stay around, what companies do you use every day? Okay, I use a
Hmm.
Microsoft computer every day. All right, you probably could put money in Microsoft, and it's probably a safe bet, and it would grow over time. Apple, Walmart. I mean, like shit like that. It's like yeah, they're big companies, and now they offer fractional shares. Did you know that?
Yeah, you can do like $1.
That's even crazier. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like you can buy into Tesla's like $1,600, and you can just like put $100
Hmm.
into it and then let it watch it grow. And it's like, this is nuts. Like I didn't know this was like that was possible, and it's changed. It's all changed. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, I've just been messing around and picking growth stocks and just watching and learning and getting a better idea of the market, and you learn a lot by just putting some money in there.
I think that's the biggest thing to take away is that you just got to throw some money in. You got to be
Hmm.
okay with like again, I wouldn't recommend you put a lot of money in if you don't know what you're doing. Put a little bit in,
Yeah.
sit there, watch it, throw it in some stocks and just play around with it to get a feel for
Mhm.
the ups and downs and how the things work um and then you'll be golden for when you put a lot more in and it's there's no better rewarding feeling than opening your app at 10 a.m. or whatever to check on it and stocks are up and you're like I'm making money. I'm sitting here. I'm not even doing anything. So
Yep.
it's a nice feel. Not gonna lie. Um, wow, I don't even know where we just came from. Wasn't expecting to talk about stocks and all that. So let's bring it back. We're gonna wind it back because I forgot.
Okay.
um, your videographer, you're doing video. That's what I was gonna ask. What's your favorite project that you've done so far?
Hold up. You kind of cut out.
Oh,
Say
you're
that
good.
again.
What it would be your favorite project that you've done so far?
Uh, Probably just my ski movie. Um, I released that last November. And I think the reason for that was kind of just like a goal of mine since I got into filming, and that was kind of just me achieving that goal.
Okay.
So that was probably the
So when you
most
make this,
rewarding
when
project.
you're making this movie, first off, where'd you go make it at? Where was it out there? It was out west, I'm assuming.
I filmed some of it at my local ski resort here, and then Colorado, Oregon, California, and Canada.
So you took a lot. That's a lot of is it broken up like this mountain, this mountain, this mountain, or is it just like a bunch of straight edits of just ski clips?
Yeah, it's kind of broken up by location.
That's pretty cool. Now, how long was that in the making? I'm very curious.
I mean, like I said, I was kind of always working towards that for like the 4 years before that.
Gotcha,
But from the point where I like decided, hey, I'm doing this, to the premiere, it was probably about 14 months.
Wow, 14 months in the making.
Yes.
That's pretty nice. Now, how did the editing process work? I'm just curious. So let me rephrase that. Did you go into that having a vision of what it came out? You know, like this is the type of stuff I want, shots I want to get. This is this and that, and I'm gonna. Did you like already kind of have the whole movie in your head, and then it was just about going out there, getting those shots, getting those clips, and then coming home?
I mean, my original vision was definitely much better than what the final product is, because like I was like just thinking all this crazy thing and da 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 da. But there's only so much that I was capable of by myself. And then I was funding this out of pocket, so then the budget was small in terms of traveling, and then you're skiing, so you're dealing with weather and people getting hurt and all that stuff. So I went in with a vision, and then I kind of was like, okay, this isn't going to happen, but this is still kind of the general idea I want to go along with. And then I kind of just filmed every single thing I could. And then once I was done filming, I was like, okay, I have this. Let me figure out how to piece this together, right?
Gotcha. Yes. Okay. So yeah, that's how you go into stuff. Is that how you go into a lot of the creative things that you're doing? Is that you kind of have that vision, even though the vision might be very grand, you have the idea of what you want, and then you were taking those shots and getting. Is that how that creative process works for you?
Yeah, I mean it's different for every video. I mean some videos are more planned out than others. Definitely more in my action sports stuff. Those are definitely more just like shoot it and figure out what we have.
Yeah.
But as I get more into like things that involve actual storytelling, I'm definitely starting to plan things out more.
Gotcha. Now, I think we kind of talked about this last time, but you mentioned that there's two ways of doing the video editing, or the way a client will come at you and ask for editing styles. Like they'll either
no, I think that was just like kind of a new way that I've been experimenting with editing, which is I've kind of been editing before I shoot. So I've been because in the past what I do and what a lot of people do is you shoot everything, like you have it planned out kind of, and then you shoot everything and then you edit it. But what I've been doing is I've been going into my editing software before I shoot and getting songs and all the things that I already have before I shooting, and then I go in with text and I'd be like, okay, this shot here, this shot here, this shot here, and kind of been editing the video beforehand, so you have like a general idea, and then as you're watching it with that song or that voiceover or whatever, you can like actually replace the text with the videos, and it just makes editing that much quicker because once you have all the footage, you just drop it in where you have that text.
That is interesting. So that's the new way you're doing it. I'm sorry, I misunderstood.
It's not necessarily the new way. It's just been something I've been experimenting.
It's been something you're experimenting, that you're trying out, and it seems to be working better for you than the classical way that most people do their editing.
Yeah. Well, like I said, it just depends on the project, because there's some things where you can plan out each shot, but then there's some things you're like, I want to get this shot, but I don't know if it'll happen. So it just depends on the project.
Gotcha. How much? Yeah, I guess that's true. How much of like, and maybe you know, maybe you don't know, of like action sports videos are sometimes just pure luck that they got the shot? How much would you, even on yours, just in general, how much do you think that is just luck that they got the shot, or is it actually like staged?
Yeah, everything's pretty much staged. So how it often works is like I'll be working with an athlete and they'll be like, okay, I want to do this trick, and then I'll be like, okay, this trick, if I film at this angle, this will make it look the best way, and then I'll have like the lockdown angle, and then I'll just keep on
Okay.
filming it and filming it and filming it until they get it. So it's not like I'm just like running around with my camera filming random things. We kind of have a plan, but it's more of just like doing things 100 times until they finally land it. And like, it's just, it's kind of like stressful because like I have to film this perfect 100 times because you don't know which time they'll land it. So there is kind of some luck, but it's more of just like being dialed and having that angle dialed.
No, that's cool. That's very interesting. I never thought about it like that. Like, so there's definitely a long term like patience as a videographer you have to have. You have to sit there and let that thing ride out and keep on taking videos and keep on even.
Yeah, especially in the action sports world, and it's a lot of people, like a lot of people who do like large projects now. A lot of them have came from the action sports world just because that repetitive process and just working in those extreme environments, it just breeds very good cinematographers, videographers, whatever. So you'll like I still like I'll be watching something and then the director I'll look him up and he's like, oh, he started filming skiing or skateboarding or whatever. So just that repetitive nature kind of breeds a lot of good talent in terms of behind the camera work.
I could see that. Yeah, I could see how that almost because you got into it early, you have that advantage to where when you go to other types of sorry, I'm trying to lose the words here. When you're going to do other films and such like that, you've got that level of patience because you've been where it's like you're just having to like you have no other choice but to like, all right, let's hope they get it this time. No, okay, hope they get it this time.
Like if you've been on top of a mountain trying to film something 100 times and it's 10 degrees and your fingers are frozen and you've nailed the shot for that, then you're gonna nail something in a studio when you have 20 other people there helping you. So
that is, you know what? That's interesting. I think we're onto something here. That should be like the avenue. That's the avenue all great videographers are gonna go. 10 years from now, you're gonna give another interview and you're gonna tell about that story. Like, yeah, I was on the top of the mountain and just video after video, and my hands are numb and blah blah blah. And now I go to the studio and I can't complain when we take 5 takes. It's way easier. I bet you like people that photograph puppies have the best patience.
Yeah, working with animals.
They just have the best patience because the animals have no idea what's going on.
Animals and babies are the worst.
Animals and babies. I was gonna say babies. Just like they're just waiting constantly, just like, all right, it's okay. He'll stop crying eventually. We'll just keep taking him. Click, click, click. Oh my gosh, it's so funny. So favorite project was the ski thing. What about a favorite project for a client? I'm curious. You don't have to name the client. Maybe just I don't know if that's how you want to do it, but
honestly, I don't even know. I haven't had like obviously I've done work for people, but I wouldn't necessarily consider it a client work because they weren't like directly paying me for that. But in terms of like somebody paying me to make a video, I don't really know if I have a favorite.
Well, then let's change the question.
There's not really one that stands out. I mean, they're all kind of just like meh.
Yeah, they go like I'm blending together. What is a goal of yours? What's a video goal of yours? What's a vision goal that you have just for yourself? It doesn't have to be like something. Don't give away some secret video you don't want to give away. But I mean, like, what is a goal that you have that you want to do?
I mean, like I said, I definitely want to like work on a larger project, and I want to direct like a proper project one day with proper actors and like crew and stuff, whether that be a commercial or a short film or a feature or whatever. I just want to direct.
Gotcha. Okay. What do you do for editing? What are you using?
Adobe Premiere Pro.
Has that been what you use since the beginning?
Basically, when I got my first camera, which is a GoPro, they have like a little like free software that's pretty basic. So I just like used that for like the first 6 months. But in December of whatever the year was that I got my first camera, I downloaded the free trial for Adobe Premiere, and I was like 13 and just completely like had no idea what I was doing in this like professional grade software, but just trials and temptations, I eventually figured it out and still learn some stuff in there every once in a while.
What advice do you have for younger videographers or videographers just getting into the scene about video editing and even recording in a sense? But let's go with the video editing part first.
Tips for video editing. I don't know. I really don't.
It's a very broad question.
To be completely honest, I really don't like editing that much. I mean, it's like fun for a little bit, but I wouldn't consider myself like. There's some people who are like, "Oh, I'm a video editor," but I would say I'm more of like a videographer, filmmaker, and then like editing just comes with that. So like, I guess if you're truly trying just to be like an editor or whatever, just edit as much as you can. I mean, that's pretty much. That's how most things go.
That's a fine answer.
Do it every chance you have.
That's a fine answer. So then flip that around, because you're more into the videographer side. What advice do you have for young and new coming videographers?
I'd say manage your projects in a way that, like, especially if you're like not young and like I'm getting ready to move out on my own, so I gotta like start paying bills and stuff. So the finance side of things are like starting to become more important to me, because in the past I've just been able to go, okay, whatever, I can make whatever video I want. I don't care if I get paid or not. But now I'm starting to get to that point, and I'm trying to find the balance of doing work that pays, but also working on passion projects still, and still making time for those. Because like I said, the client work I'm doing right now isn't necessarily where I want to be. So I still need to cut out time on working for doing those projects that I'm not making money for, because that will eventually turn into paid work and things that I like. So kind of finding the proper balance between those two.
Right. That's great advice. It's something that's very hard to do in anything when you're striving to be on your own in a freelance work type of sense. It's very hard to find that balance, because you're saying, I have to make money, because then if I don't make money, I can't, live. But
you also want to make cool stuff.
You want to make cool stuff. You want to do the stuff you love, all that good jazz. And that's great advice. Yeah. Do you have any tips and tricks on actually getting videography, like the actual videoing itself?
I mean, like these days, everybody has a camera. So same thing with the editing, just film. Post stuff online, because that's actually been huge for me. Just like posting my work online, because I get feedback from others, and I'll like send it around to people who are better at this. And it's been nice kind of having that feedback from a young age. And kind of also another thing I really like doing is I like getting on YouTube and like looking at my old videos, because I just look at them, I'm like, these are absolutely awful. And I mean, obviously you shouldn't just like talk negatively about your work all the time, but I think it's a positive to be able to look back on your work 2 years down the road and be like, this is absolutely awful, because that means you're improving.
That's very wise and very insightful. Yes, a lot of people would rather look at it and be like, can't believe I did that. And you're like, well, I did it, and I'm glad I did it, and now I've learned.
Yeah, like that. Even that movie, I mean, that was just last November, and like I'll watch it every once in a while. I was like, and every time I watch it, it just gets progressively worse.
You're like, I could have done so much better. Is that what you think? You're very critiquing of yourself on that?
Yes, a lot. I'm very critiquing.
That's never a bad quality to have, especially for when you're trying to strive for big goals. If you don't have that in the back of your head of like, I can do better, I can do better, I can do better, I can get that better. Like you're gonna get. I mean, that's part of we talked about, that complacency, which obviously I don't think you have. That comes with that. There's no complacency, because you're like, I can get better. If I'm not better, then I'm worse. Kind of deal. Like if I'm not moving forward, I'm not moving anywhere. I'm moving backwards, type of thing.
Yeah. I've always been very hard on myself.
it's a good trait. Like I said, it's something that hard workers have to have. It's something that people that want to strive for big goals need to have, because if you're just kind of willy-nilly in it and not critiquing yourself, you're not learning. And more than likely you're going to make the same mistakes over and over again. Or you're just going to go stagnant, like you're saying. If you're not critiquing yourself, how can you excel to go forward?
For sure,
man. Honestly, I think we're just going to end it on that note. That was a great note right there. Was there anything else you wanted to add? You got any new videos coming up? You got any new stuff coming out? You want to get out there, let people know?
I don't know. Not really working on anything right now that will be viewable to the public, but definitely over the next couple months, I'll probably start getting things going again, because I've just been, like I said, I'm getting ready to move, so I'm just trying to get that out of the way. But once I get nice and settled, I plan on cranking things out again. So just, you can find all my social media, just search Colby Eubanks and keep an eye out.
Yeah, I'll make sure to plug that into the podcast description and all that. But yes, thank you for plugging that in. Dude, great show. I loved you having you on. We talked about a lot today. I hope you would come on again at some point, if that's down the road. Sure. Get some more videos going and get some crazy stuff. And dude, if you ever want to come to Florida, come on down. We can make some beach videos or some type of video if you want to. Something with the beach and mudding and stuff like that. We can do all that stuff. And I'll probably go out west. So if I'm ever in Utah, I'm going to hit you up. Just to let you know. All right, man. Bye, everybody.
Thanks.